I'm sure most of you know by now, I love watching bad YouTuber apologies, and they're all horrible. I swear to God, the animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's appear more emotional than the fucking YouTubers when they're apologizing. It is the goofiest shit in the world, but that has nothing on TikTok apologies. They're in a totally different dimension, a realm all of their own. It's like everyone on TikTok has been trained by Tommy Wiseau when it comes to acting. Like, it literally sounds and looks like NPCs in Skyrim communicating. Like, there was a dude who got outed as like a child predator or something, and his apology, his response video was him reading off of note cards like he was in middle school class giving a presentation on like chemical bonds. And he's just sitting there, he's like, yes, I did this, but doesn't mean you can be mean to me. Flips. Please stop being mean to me. Flips. Like, it's fucking crazy. So recently, about 5 or 6 months ago, a massive TikTok star named Sienna May was accused of sexually assaulting another TikTok star named Jack Wright. There were videos that came out that showed Sienna doing questionable things to Jack Wright's body while he was unconscious, and there's just a lot of evidence that led to these allegations against her. And recently, like 5 or 6 days ago, he made a video finally going over everything, and it's really sad. It is really just a very sad, awful situation. And I actually knew about this about 5 or 6 months ago because she released the worst apology video I think I've ever seen. And I don't say that lightly. I feel like I say that every time a new apology video comes out, but somehow they just keep getting worse. And I don't think anything's gonna beat Sienna May's. She took it down today, unfortunately, so the only way I'm gonna be able to show it to you is when we watched it on stream, twitch.tv/moistcritical. Come stop by, put a few extra inches on your penis, put a link in the description. So I'm going to show you that and then go over it a bit further. So I do remember her because Mr. Beard made a video on her apology. We even watched the apology on stream. She's the one that did the interpretive dance. I'm young and did nothing wrong. With the sexual assault allegation. I remember her now.
I decided to take a month off of social media due to the negativity surrounding my platform. It was honestly one of the most difficult times in my life for many reasons. But through struggle, I found clarity within myself and with who
And then
I
she
want
hits
to
a
call myself
Gangnam
as.
Style here in a
My purpose
minute.
in this life is
Right away, I love how she says taking a month off social media was the hardest time in her life. What a privileged life to live where that's your biggest struggle. You can't go on TikTok for a month. Fuck. What a nightmare. You'll soon notice this isn't really an apology video, it's just like a ballet recital. She doesn't really say sorry for anything at all, and she makes herself the victim in the situation. Like, I had to take a whole month off social media. I just needed to clear my head from all the negativity, which I didn't deserve.
to create. And whether that's silly TikTok dances or showing unedited photos of myself, creating and inspiring, now more than ever, I feel proud of the person that I am. Even if I can only inspire one person, I will have done what I was put on this earth to do.
Yeah, this is all very inspirational. It's motivated me to climb a mountain. But what does it have to do with anything at all? I mean, yeah, this is obviously very powerful. It's putting tears in my eyes with how motivational it is, but what does it have to do with anything? It doesn't address anything. It does nothing. This is like if the feds came up to me and they're like, hey, Charlie, we caught you on camera burning down this Toys R Us. We know you're an arsonist. We have it right here. And my response is, I just love to create. I love to inspire and show unedited photos of myself. And if I can just inspire one person, then I'll have done what I set out on this earth to do. Hit him with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse dance. Like, oh God, guess we got the wrong guy. He's not guilty, he just popped and locked on us.
We're all learning and growing, and more than anything, I'm beyond thankful for my family, friends, partnerships, and supporters.
I love how she
It's
shouts out her
something
sponsors
that
in the
I think a lot of
apology.
people my age can relate to. I hope this can inspire you.
Really appreciate Raid Shadow Legends through thick and thin here. Like, how can you not forgive her after this?
Watching me, judging me, making me feel so used. Can't you see that I wanna do this? Yeah.
I'm convinced she did nothing wrong. I was very inspired. Not a single apology here, making sure to let the sponsors know that she still appreciates them so they don't feel left out here. Overall, I mean, it doesn't get better than that. That is about as good as it gets, I'd say. The song she chose couldn't have been worse, I'd say. Like, the very end is, I did nothing wrong, I'm young, and she's accused of sexual assault. Like, this is probably not the song you'd want to use. Feels really off given the circumstance for why she's doing this. It's really a fucking weird choice. It almost feels like she's rubbing Jack's face in the whole situation. She makes herself the victim and then tries to spin this whole thing as a way of making herself like the hero of the story. Like, I had to take a whole month off social media, but now I'm back to inspire. Now, even beyond this horribly choreographed Broadway dance number, she released a series of videos saying the allegations were false and lies, just outright denying any of it ever happened, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. So the whole thing has been just a big, gross mess. But yeah, I mainly just wanted to show you that apology because I think it's going to be a pretty tough one for someone to beat. This was very egotistical, and it wasn't an apology. I don't know why I even keep calling it that. This was her, like, victim blaming and making the whole situation a way of trying to like become more popular from it almost. I don't know. It was just fucking stupid, and I just had to at least show you all this whole situation, and that's about it. So yeah. Today, Will Smith posted a YouTube apology video for slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars, and when I saw it, I had to scratch my head and wonder why. It happened so long ago. I was confused. Why is he apologizing now? I felt like Robin Williams coming out of Jumanji asking what year it was. And then I remembered that happened this year. It was 4 months ago that Will Smith slapped Chris Rock's head clean off his shoulders at the Oscars. He turned an award ceremony into a public execution when he blasted Chris Rock to Valhalla, just banishing him to the Shadow Realm with a slap. Mm-hmm. Oh baby, that's right. He starts this with the most generic YouTuber apology intro imaginable. A slow walk into a big sigh right before getting into the actual apology. Textbook. He's clearly been trained by some of the YouTuber apology greats like Logan Paul, Laura Lee, Tati. I mean, this is perfection here. Every box of YouTuber apology cliche gets ticked immediately except for one. He didn't bring his dog into it. A lot of YouTubers like to bring in an animal in order to, deflect some of the criticism with cuteness with the animal. Will Smith unfortunately must have forgot that prop this time around, but everything else he nails.
Why didn't you apologize to Chris in your acceptance speech? I was fogged out by that point. It's all fuzzy.
So the main thing he's doing in the apology video here is answering questions that people have asked over the last 4 months. And again, I have to wonder why even bother. It's been 4 months on internet time. That's basically ancient history. Like, that's back there with like Y2K now. Most people have moved on and forgotten about it. So it's a little weird to be this tardy to the party with addressing these things. Now, of course, I understand this was like a career-ruining moment for him, so he wants to do his best to be perceived positively again, both by movie execs as well as the general public. So if he really did feel strongly enough that he wants to apologize, then all power to him. But anyway, the first question that he addresses here is one that I don't think anyone with half a brain ever asked in the first place. Why didn't you apologize to Chris during your acceptance speech? The answer should be pretty obvious if you have eyes. It's because he was still mad. He was still fuming. Of course he wasn't going to apologize for it. Literally 15 minutes before he accepted that award, he had just charged the stage like The Undertaker during WrestleMania going into the ring and clobbered Chris. So of course he's not going to immediately like fold and be like, man, sorry Chris, that was out of line. He was still upset. That's why he didn't apologize. I don't really understand his excuse of I was still, in a fog. It was all still fuzzy. Like in the moment that makes sense, but over the last 4 months, what, you've just been in a perpetual fog? You've been in like the upside down or something? Like, what do you mean? You've had 4 months if you wanted to publicly apologize to Chris and you didn't. And even to be fair here, you still don't. He says I'm sorry to a lot of people, but the one person he doesn't say the words I'm sorry to is Chris.
I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out. So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk.
That almost sounds like a trap, like, hey, I'm here whenever you're ready to talk. And it turns out Will's been training for the last 4 months with slap boxing, so he's been like slapping brick walls until they collapse, so he's ready to really get him with like a double whammy, get him with that encore performance. There's a big difference between saying, I apologize to you, and I'm sorry. I don't think people really understand the value of just saying, I'm sorry. I think it's the most important thing to say during an apology, which he does say later on to other people, but never Chris. To Chris, he just says, I apologize, and the action was unacceptable. Which is, that's good, that's definitely a start, but I really think you needed that cherry on top here of an I'm sorry. This is also just one of those things that should have been handled privately. I'm sure there were plenty of ways in the pipeline to let Chris know that you were genuinely remorseful for what happened, but I understand why he thought this was a good idea. I'm going to make a video coming forward, publicly apologizing and owning up to my mistakes, letting people see how horrible I feel and what I'm doing to change and be better. The thought process makes sense. Let people see a vulnerable side of you and let them know that you made a mistake and you know that. And that, it again, does make sense to anyone who's never been on the internet. I think one thing most people online are starting to understand and wake up to is that when you make an apology video, you lose. It's like what war games taught us. The only winning move is not to play. When you make an apology video, it is a lose-lose situation for you. You're either going to have people that don't believe that you're actually sorry, or they're going to have people that think that you didn't need to apologize in the first place, so now you look stupid. You look like a pussy. Which I'm already seeing with Will Smith's apology, like, why is he apologizing? He stood up for his wife. Does he not support his wife anymore? Oh my god, I've lost all respect for Will with this apology now. And then on the other side of that coin is, man, Will really needed to apologize, but this apology video was so dog shit, he missed the mark entirely. This is the worst apology video I've ever seen in my life. You just don't win with an apology, so again, this should have just been private.
3 months replaying and understanding the nuances and the complexities of what happened in that moment.
You slapped the shit out of a man. It's not that deep. Talking about it like it's the most complex situation of all time. Like this slap was somehow, like a Cold War or something here. It was a simple act that affected a decent chunk of people. Chris, most notably, I would say, was physically affected by the slap, but Will's career was also hurt by it. Chris's family was probably pretty upset by it. Like, yes, of course, people were affected by it, but it's not like there needs to be like 4 months spent of just digesting this giant web that all spawned from a slap. Because, again, at the end of the day, it's really not that deep.
After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something? No. It's like, I made a choice on my own, from my own experiences, from my history with Chris. Jada had nothing to do with it.
Jada was behind the camera with a teleprompter and a gun, making sure this question was addressed properly. Of course, I'm kidding. Jada just has very odd moments publicly with Will that I think are very tasteless in the things she says to and about Will. And it's the reason why a lot of people felt like she may have contributed to this overreaction from Will. Her rolling her eyes and then just having all of that context with the things she has said publicly about and to Will just made people wonder whether or not she was somehow involved in that decision from Will. But he's clearing the air here, saying that it was just him doing it. And you know what? I'll take his word for it. I think this was just an impulsive decision here. I don't think Jada has some kind of device that she can control Will's brain like something out of Dexter's lab. I really think he just completely overreacted and went fucking berserk here for some reason. And I don't think Jada is necessarily guilty of that, but I do think she is guilty of being a very toxic partner. I know that sounds parasocial to say, but the amount of clips and videos of Jada just shitting on Will to his face is baffling. Like the time where she was just talking about cheating right to him and how much she like enjoyed it or whatever during their red table talk. Oh my god, it's so hard to sit through. As Will's like in tears about it and she's just joking. Oh man, it's fucking brutal. And so now Will looks like a cuck. I mean, I'm just not a big Jada fan. I'll say it. I don't think she's that nice.
What would you say to the people who looked up to you before the slap, or people who expressed that you let them down?
Let me just stop you right there. You don't have to apologize to me. I found this whole thing to be highly entertaining. I thought this was extremely goofy, and no one seriously got injured or anything like that. This was just an absolute fucking wild moment. And honestly, for this section, he should have just said, "You're welcome." You know, to the journalist that wouldn't stop fucking writing about it, like a million articles all going deep into it for no fucking reason, talking about how this is setting a bad precedent and how in the next Oscars, all of a sudden people might be showing up there with battle axes to attack their critics, how journalists are no longer safe, you know, this and that. Like, he honestly should have just said, "You're welcome," for the 2 weeks of just articles and videos about it. Now, of course, there were super fans of Will that were disappointed to see this, and I think it's cute that he said that he was sorry for it and letting them down. He apologized to Chris's family, his family, for the negative backlash they've faced. He apologized to pretty much everyone that was directly impacted by it. And now in this section, he's talking about how horrible he feels when he doesn't live up to people's image of him. And I will say he does seem pretty sincere for the most part. But again, it's been 4 months. Most people have moved on. This was pretty unnecessary. Though I'm sure a lot of people that did feel like really disappointed appreciate the gesture.
Disappointing people is my central trauma. I hate when I let people down. It hurts me psychologically and emotionally to know I didn't live up to people's image and impression of me. Deeply remorseful. And I'm trying to be remorseful without being ashamed of myself, right? I'm human. And I made a mistake.
But yeah, he finishes it off by saying that he is remorseful and he's, you know, working on being better. And if you stick with him, you can all be friends again. And that's basically where it concludes. Overall, I don't think it's like the worst apology ever, especially in the tier list of YouTuber apologies. I think this one was one of the more sincere ones, at least from everything I've seen from it, unless I've been deceived by his great acting, I couldn't tell you. But this is just one of those situations that is so wild to me. Why do this 4 months later? If he had done this like a day, 2 days, even a week after this happened, I think the reception to it would have been much better than it currently is. Yes, it still has, I think, a pretty positive reception overall from like his actual like dedicated fans. But the general consensus I'm seeing here is, why is he doing this? This seems very fake to do it now. It's way too late. We've all moved on, this and that. So again, you don't really win with an apology video, but if he'd at least made like a statement like this, a big statement like this, right after it happened, I think he would have been in a much better position now than he is currently, if that makes sense. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this since the slap is the gift that just keeps on giving. Somehow, there is still developments with that whole story that keep happening. Anyway, that's about it. See ya. It just wouldn't feel right if 2023 didn't conclude with at least one more horrible YouTuber apology video, and luckily, Krampus did not let us down, delivering a nice lump of coal under the tree. This had been a year filled to the brim, the cup runneth over, on bad YouTuber apology videos. I was a naive fool to think that we had seen the last of apology videos for 2023, and how wrong was I? In the fourth quarter here, the last week or so of 2023, we were blessed with one more from James Somerton. He was featured prominently in H-Bomber Guy's newest video on plagiarism. I'm sure all of you have seen this video by now. If you haven't, that is shocking to hear and should probably go check it out. And I'm not going to recap the whole video, but I will give you a brief synopsis of James Somerton's role in it. But basically, James Somerton was pretty much caught with his hand in the cookie jar, plagiarizing his entire online content fundamentally. It also goes even deeper than the plagiarism. He was accused of multiple other bad things in regards to his content and claims he was making and a bunch of other variety of things. And in response to that, James went dark. He went off the grid, bought a log cabin in the middle of the woods, grew out a lumberjack's beard. He bought a Hoover from, Breaking Bad, and he disappeared. So he went offline, and then a couple days ago posted a surprise apology video going over all of it, which he deleted a couple hours later when it didn't get the response he was expecting it to. But it's been re-uploaded, and I kind of wanted to cover it a little bit just because it feels right. 2023 had so many of these. We've got to usher in 2024 the right way with an apology video to kick us off getting into the new year. So let's take a peek.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry for taking so long to make this video or to say anything. I'm in the hospital. I've been in the hospital for a little over a week.
Call me John Madden because I'm going to walk you through the play in this playbook here. It's called Emotional Manipulation. It's a timeless classic. There is no reason he should be starting this video with this story here. He uses this technique multiple times throughout the video and doesn't really even address the accusations head on. It's mainly a lot of deflection. But what I want to focus on is just how hard he leans on trying to garner sympathy through this. Now, it's always sad to see someone struggling and going through a hard time and contemplating extremely terrible things with their life. But it's not something that you need to be sharing online in this capacity. And it's also not something most people would be comfortable sharing online, especially in response to things like this, because it comes across as very insincere and disingenuous and kind of like using it as though it makes you immune to criticism because now you've gone through this, if that makes sense. And that's pretty much what his whole audience said too. Even the ones that were trying to rally behind him, hoping for a real explanation, this left a very bad taste in their mouth because it's completely unrelated to what should be being talked about, which is his plagiarism as well as the other things he's been accused of. He doesn't need to be sharing this information with us. This is a very private matter that he should have kept private.
I tried to do something really stupid. I'm really only here now because before I did it, I called my dad to talk to him one more time, and he figured out something was wrong and called paramedics or 911 or...
Once again, there is no reason to be telling this extremely personal story to your audience when this is supposed to be a video addressing all of the accusations against your content. It's just the only reason this is here is so that way people can sympathize with him and feel sorry for what he's been going through. And make no mistake, from what he describes here, it's an extremely horrible experience that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. But it has no place in this video. It just comes across as super fucking tone deaf here. Just talk about, if you want to make an apology video or explain your side of things, then do that. And don't go into the private side of what's been happening behind the scenes since the accusations came out.
They got here, and I woke up in the hospital, and yeah, anyway, I'm not trying to make this a sob story. I'm just trying to explain why I've been so quiet.
You spent the entire first minute and a half making it a sob story, though. That's not an accident, and you could have edited that out. It's here because you wanted it to be here, to start with immediately trying to get the waterworks going with people crying over how awful this experience is before you get into what's supposed to be your side and your apology over everything. It's just textbook emotional manipulation trying to make everyone feel bad for you, even though you were the guilty party who got caught, and this is you trying to talk about that, and you still haven't yet, even though we're already kind of deep into the video. Now, it is a 34-minute video, so a minute and a half isn't like the bulk of it, but he sprinkles this throughout the entire thing, so you can't really make a good argument that it's only here to try and explain why he took so long to make this video. A, you don't need to explain why you took so long. You really don't. If you really wanted to give an explanation, you could just make it super concise, like, hey, had stuff going on. Or this has been an extremely stressful period of time in my life from all of this, so I've taken some time to process everything, and now I feel comfortable going forward. Like, you didn't need to dive into it like this, and you didn't even need to explain why it took you that long in the first place. And on top of that, he does also still go over these really sad things in his life throughout the whole thing that aren't just there to explain why it took him so long to talk about all of this. So it really does feel like he's trying to emotionally manipulate people with his apology video. But even when he is done going through this story and actually trying to talk about what's been going on, he takes really no responsibility. He does say, "I'm sorry," a lot, but it feels kind of hollow when he starts throwing somebody else under the bus for things and then kind of belittling the whole situation itself, boiling it down to something far simpler than it is. Like, there were a lot of accusations against him, none of which he really defends himself on in any meaningful way whatsoever. It really feels like the main purpose of the video is to make the audience feel bad. Like, make them, like, blame them, basically, for what he's going through, as opposed to taking that responsibility for fucking up with plagiarizing his whole career.
Really, really sorry. Really, really sorry. For this stuff in the videos, not crediting people, and I lost my best friend because of this. Nick and I had been best friends since...
I don't think I really need to show you more of the video itself. You get the idea of exactly how this goes for the rest of the 30 minutes of it. It's just a really baffling decision to post this in the first place, and it's something he recognized pretty quickly when he saw the responses coming in, the Yelp reviews. So here's his community post addressing it. Earlier tonight, I uploaded a video apologizing for what I've done, but it's become clear after hearing from several people that I am not in a healthy frame of mind to be posting anything online. I only returned home from the hospital yesterday, so I should have never filmed it. I've deleted the video, but I'm sure it has been downloaded and will be shared by others online. I promise to apologize properly and in detail when I'm more mentally stable. Until then, please know that I am sorry. He understands that this wasn't a good idea, but insists that he is sorry and will return at a later date to make a better apology video. And I have to say, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Like, I don't understand why he's even going to bother trying. There is really nothing that's going to improve for his online career through an apology. His audience isn't going to stick around through it. They were there for his content, and his content was stolen. It was all plagiarized. Like, there's no reason for them to stay, and it's not something he can just move on for and keep pumping out bangers, because no one's going to believe that it's original work or anything that he himself created. So there's nothing he can possibly gain from even making an apology. He should just do something else that's not being a YouTuber, or find a completely different niche on YouTube to try and make it big in. Like, there's just nothing he can really do for the James Somerton brand here. So I don't know why he's going to try and make another apology video later. It just seems kind of silly to even bother. He doesn't have anything that proves him innocent from the claims. He really was kind of, caught pants around the ankle here. It's kind of kaput. Like, it is clear he plagiarized a lot of things, and there's a lot of other accusations on top of that as well from the way he conducted himself and some of the content, like in some of the things he said. And there's really not a whole lot he can do to come back from that and make this big triumphant comeback with an absolute fucking banger apology. That's just not going to happen. So why even do it? Just go do something else, man. Just move on from it. So yeah, I just wanted to cover this a little bit, just because it's one more bad apology in 2023. I figured might as well complete the year the only way we know how, with bad YouTuber apologies. Yeehaw. That's about it. See ya. It's impossible to say what the worst feeling in the world might be. I think most people would default to answering that with something painful, like getting hit with a sledgehammer, getting shot. Childbirth is usually towards the top of that tier list for how painful it is. Maybe watching Rebel Moon Part 2 for how abominable it is. But I actually think there's a right answer to what the worst feeling in the world is. And it's being dead. And a YouTube channel called Watcher would agree with my analysis because they experienced death for about 3 days when they released their Goodbye YouTube video, where they announced that they were leaving the platform in order to have their own subscription-based third-party platform for their content going forward, and people didn't like that. They got spit on more than a mic at a beatboxing competition, and now they're backpedaling. They've released an apology, and they've announced that they've made a mistake, they've apologized, and they've talked about their plan going forward now. I'll bring you up to speed on the lore in case you're unfamiliar with this story, but this is a massive YouTube channel. They are a beloved group where they made this absolute wet fart of announcement where it was saying that they were going to be producing all of their content going forward behind a paywall on their own platform for $6 a month. So all of the content that their fans were used to getting on YouTube for free is now locked behind a $6 a month subscription fee. They said they continue to drop premieres on YouTube, but the rest of the season, well, that would cost you some clams to access. Obviously, this ruffled everyone's feathers, especially considering they already have a Patreon where people were signing up for monthly membership fees of $5, $10, or $25 a month, and this was an additional service on top of that for a monthly subscription, so it was just a disaster. And they lost close to like 100,000 subs over the course of 3 days. It wasn't quite 100K, but it was a lot. And now, today, they've released this.
Hey everyone, last Friday we announced that we're leaving YouTube and launching our new streaming platform.
We messed up. A lot of you spoke out with extremely valid comments and concerns, and we want to take the time now to address those.
We've been reading the things you've been saying, and we're sorry for the way we handled this, as well as the way we communicated it.
Right up front, it succeeds where a lot of other YouTuber apologies fail. They say they fucked up, and they say the golden word, I'm sorry. They make an apology right off rip. So it's a pretty good start to this one, all things considered.
We understand where you're coming from, and we're making immediate changes.
First, we want to affirm that you are the reason why we've been able to do anything at this company. You helped us every step of the way when we left BuzzFeed to start Watcher at the top of the pandemic in 2020.
You've supported us in so many ways by watching our content, attending our live shows, buying our merch, becoming members of our Patreon, and giving words of encouragement over the years.
This is another super strong moment here because it's tugging on the audience's heartstrings. It's very much buttering them up in a positive way. I'm not saying that as a negative thing. It's clear that they recognize the significance of having that audience. The whole content creation shit online doesn't work if no one's watching it. I mean, I guess if you had like an army of bots that view it, like you're a kick streamer or something, then maybe you can make an argument that it'd be sustainable even if you don't have a single human being watching. But clearly they understand that you need a passionate audience in order to survive in the online cyberspace Thunderdome. Now, there is something I want to mention here, though. He briefly mentions some of the ways the audience has supported them over the years, such as buying the merch, attending the live shows, subscribing to the Patreon for the monthly fee, and encouraging words. 3 out of 4 of those are huge revenue drivers. The kind words, not so much. You can't really make a whole lot of money. You can't convert nice comments to USD. There's no direct conversion there for that. I mean, unless you're making Hallmark cards, perhaps. But those other 3, attending live shows, subscribing to the Patreon, and also buying the merch. And there is a 4th one there as well, which is just by watching the videos, you are directly financially supporting them because AdSense through YouTube monetization, as well as the brand partners that have paid to be on their content. So they're already heavily monetized content, and I didn't even think about the live shows the first time I watched their video. That's a huge part of some teams' bottom lines because they bring in so much money. It's like one of the main revenue drivers for bands in particular with concerts and buying tickets to it. So they have a lot of revenue sources already for their brand. So then immediately after hearing that in this video, I was like, so then why did you want to do Watcher TV for $6 a month? You have all of these other streams that the audience has been supporting for so long. Why would you want to have another one to milk those titties dry? Like, it just doesn't seem right. It seems greedy. Now, they do shine some light on the motive behind doing this, the reason behind the Watcher TV idea in the first place. So we'll get to that pretty soon.
And we are incredibly grateful for your support.
We're sorry for how we originally delivered our goodbye message to YouTube. It was insensitive. We didn't properly express how much we appreciate all of you. And we did a really bad job of explaining the reasoning behind this transition.
We also want to deeply apologize for our ignorance around the impact of the cost. We regret stating and implying that it's a price that anybody can afford, and we fully acknowledge that it is not. We didn't take the proper consideration for how this cost would affect you, and hope you know that we are taking this as a serious learning experience.
It seems like they really did listen to pretty much all the feedback. They're hitting all of the main points, both in their delivery as well as the actual idea behind this venture. So it's nice that they're up here taking the accountability and saying, yeah, these are things that we really just didn't even think about. I'm sorry, we fucked it up. Like that is something that you don't see very often, so it's nice to see them just take it on the chin here.
With that in mind, we're making some changes to ensure that there's a way for our community to continue watching our content for free.
If you want to watch our shows early and ad-free, you can catch them on the Watcher platform a month earlier. After that, you'll be able to watch our shows on YouTube for free. For those that have already subscribed to the platform, we are so grateful for your support. But if this change has you rethinking your membership, we will issue a full refund. And all past episodes and series will remain available on YouTube.
That's a pretty solid change overall. That is something you see for a lot of Patreons for YouTubers or third-party offerings if it's not Patreon. So it does make sense that they do this here. I am surprised that that's not something they were already offering on Patreon with early access. That's one of the more standard ones. But I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If there's people that are just hungry, starved for more Watcher content, they can subscribe for $6 a month on that platform and they get that content fed to them a month early. And those that don't want to or can't afford to can just wait for it to premiere on YouTube for free, as it has always done in the past for the content that they've come to know and love. That gets 2 thumbs way up from me for the back of the DVD box on that change. I think that's completely fine. Everyone wins there. If you really want the content early, you subscribe to the early access membership for Watcher TV. And if you just want to get the content that you already know you like, you just wait for it to come up on YouTube, and it's no different for you. So I think that is a totally fair compromise.
As for the question of why we decided to launch our own platform, when we started Watcher in 2020, we wanted to create shows that we were proud of, that we had ownership over, and that would provide you the caliber of content that we felt you deserved. However, we were finding it harder and harder to stay relevant to advertisers and the constantly changing YouTube landscape.
This is where my eyebrow raised a bit, so I decided to look into their content just briefly. I didn't do like a full deep dive here, but of their last 20 videos, 12 of them have brands on them. I'm excluding their Goodbye YouTube video, but also there's one more in that batch of 20 that I think doesn't really count, and it's a teaser trailer for the mystery files that they did, so it was just a very short trailer. But 12 out of 19 full videos have sponsors in them. As I mentioned in the last video, I own an agency that manages a lot of major YouTube channels of this size and bigger. So I know what a lot of those deals look like, and I know that those deals are super lucrative. And at their size, those are significant numbers that we're looking at. Over half of their videos of the last 20 are brand partnered. It doesn't seem like they were really struggling to get brands on their content, so I don't exactly know what he means by staying relevant to brands, especially because in this industry, brands focus mainly on your cold, hard Carfax, your metrics, your numbers, and they pull in great viewership numbers as well as a very engaged community. So brands must have hearts in their eyes anytime they get the chance to work with Watcher, just because their numbers are so good. But on top of that, they actually produce some of the most brand-friendly content imaginable. This is the type of shit brands salivate over. It's long-form, highly produced content, and the creators actually do skits for the ads. At least in all the ones I've seen. They do like a fully produced brand piece in this content. So the audience actually enjoys watching these ads. That is a match made in heaven for sponsors. So I was very confused on what he meant by staying relevant to brands. And then the second thing about, staying relevant in like the ever-changing YouTube ecosystem, that's a totally understandable one. I get that. The YouTube ecosystem is 100% like this boogeyman that no one fully understands. But it doesn't really make sense to me. We found it harder and harder to compete in the ever-changing YouTube landscape, so we abandoned it. We waved the white flag and said we're defeated, so we created our own platform with blackjack and hookers. That's a Futurama reference. I'm not saying that's what Watcher TV is. But the point is, why would you go from this is a lot going on YouTube and it's changing, to, all right, guess we got to leave it now and then charge people for access. That just doesn't really compute to me, because you kill your brand, obviously, which I think they've recognized now from all the feedback. It's very hard to get people to subscribe to $6 a month content on a third-party platform they don't know, as opposed to just showing them some free YouTube videos. You built your brand very successfully on YouTube, and you are still only growing from everything I can tell. So why would you abandon it at the height of your growth, right? Like that, I don't know, that reason doesn't really make a ton of sense to me, but I understand being like afraid about, you know, long-term sustainability with how frequently YouTube is changing. I do get that, but I feel like the natural progression there would be like, okay, so how can we stay competitive on YouTube, as opposed to, okay, how the fuck can we get out of here?
We faced some incredibly challenging decisions. We didn't want to compromise our content to ensure they met advertising requirements. And we definitely did not want to lay people off that have brought Watcher to life behind the scenes. And we didn't want to bring Watcher to a close, which would have happened if we stayed solely on YouTube.
That's why we decided to launch the platform, so that we as a company could continue, we could pay our staff fairly, and not only continue to make great content for you, but expand with new shows, new voices, all ad-free. And now with the addition of accessible options, this is a decision that we all believe is the best for Watcher.
All those reasons he lists are perfectly reasonable. You don't want to lay off your staff, great. You want to pay them fair, great. Like all of these, they check mark the boxes of good shit. I support that. But I don't understand why your only option was to leave YouTube and charge $6 a month to your audience that's already paying for more merch, live shows, and Patreon. At least a large number of them are. They have over 13.4 thousand Patreon members right now. From all of this controversy, their Patreon has actually flourished more than it ever has, from what I can see. So why would you want to take even more money out of their piggy banks here? The strategy would be to keep growing on YouTube so you can continue to monetize, you can charge higher rates to the brands that you work with, that I imagine you will continue to work with. And also, more views means more AdSense money. And like I said, this channel is so advertiser friendly. It's exactly what brands and YouTube themselves want: long form, high quality content. Their RPM is probably super fucking high. So the more they would grow on YouTube, the more money they would stand to make. They would easily be able to expand, I would think, without charging $6 a month for their initial idea of paywalling the content that they were used to giving for free. I do like their new model of pay $6 a month for early access, but I still do find it unnecessary. I feel like the only reason that's there is because they can't fully walk back that now. They can't just get rid of that because people have already paid for it, so they need to offer something to those people that have already signed up. But I don't think it's a necessary thing for the survival of their brand. I really don't. Like I said, I know what these brands pay to be on the content. So just their sponsorships, I know they're bringing in six figures from these sponsorships. Easy. And their Patreon, you can start crunching the numbers. 13.4 thousand Patreons at $5 minimum, up to $25. Like, come on. That's a lot per month. Plus their merch is pretty pricey, and people are clearly buying their merch. It seems to sell out quite a bit. That's a lot too. Live show tickets, when those come around, that's a pretty big influx. Their AdSense popping off. Like, they have so many revenue streams, I don't know how they can possibly be at this point where they need to find more ways of taking money from their audience in order to survive. That just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, unless there's some really odd mismanagement going on behind the scenes here. The videos they make aren't cheap, but I am confident that they're not costing them $500,000 per video or something outlandish like that. I know that's not the case. So how can you possibly be at this point where we had to find a new subscription for people to pay for in order to keep Watcher alive? I just don't get that.
However, we realized that in figuring out the logistics of what this might take, we overlooked the way it would impact all of you. We hope you'll be patient with us through these mistakes, and we remain incredibly sorry that they were made in the first place.
We also want to directly address our Patreon community, who have played such a key role in supporting us from the very beginning. All current Patreon members will receive a free subscription code to the platform. If you already purchased a subscription, please contact us and we will issue you a full refund.
We look forward to continuing to make shows and introducing all the incredible things that we've got planned for the platform alongside YouTube. And in the meantime, we are forever grateful to all of the people who make up our community. And we hope that you consider joining us in this next chapter of our journey, whether that's on YouTube or on the platform.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Overall, this is a good apology video, I feel. They say I'm sorry multiple times, they admit their faults, they try and explain why things were the way that they are, and how they missed the mark. Like, they take a lot of it and seem to understand it from a place of genuine authenticity, which is great. I still, however, don't understand why it reached that point to begin with. I don't see how a channel of their size and their success with all of the revenue streams that they currently offer could possibly be struggling financially. I really don't understand. I don't. Like, knowing what I know about this space, I just don't see how they could be needing to take even more money from their audience to survive. I do think they made a good change with what they're offering for $6 a month. I personally don't think that it's necessary at all, though, especially because the way they frame it in this video makes it sound like that's the only way the watcher survives, is if they find a way to monetize even more off the backs of their viewers. So that's why the $6 a month there is being charged, because it helps keep them afloat. I don't know how they could possibly, with all of these revenue streams, be struggling to the degree that they make it seem like they are. But whatever, that's neither here nor there, I suppose. This announcement was very positively received by their audience, and that's the most important thing for the health of their channel and their brand, is that their audience feels satisfied with this update. And from what I can tell, they do. A lot of them do still state that there's been a breach of their trust here with what they tried, but it seems like they're forgiving and willing to see how things play out for this group in the future. So I guess we'll see what the watcher does down the line. That's really about it. So yeah. Okay, let's see the Liver King response. This is, again, a follow-up to the big expose from More Plates, More Dates that revealed in an email that Liver King isn't natty. He was communicating with a coach to get advice on his stack, referring to like the HGH and everything he was cycling. Which is a big deal, because Liver King has always defended that he's 100% natural. All you need to do to look like him is follow the 9 ancestral tenets. And he has a ton of companies, claims to make $100 million a year, but it's all based on being able to look like him through natural stuff, which isn't the case. So this is him coming out about it. If I had to spitball a guess, I would imagine Liver King takes this directly. I don't think he's going to try and like claim it's all deep faked. He's not going to claim it's reptilians behind the scenes of the puppet master that faked the emails. He strikes me as someone who's going to try and take it head on and just hope that the majority of his audience doesn't care. That's my guess.
Primals, I'm making this video to apologize. Because I fucked up.
This is kind of quiet.
Because I'm embarrassed and ashamed. I've stated that this is a complicated as fuck topic, at least to me it is, because before social media, I was rich and anonymous, and after social media, I'm still rich, but no longer anonymous, and I never expected this kind of exposure.
That was very frank.
In the public eye.
That's what I mentioned briefly in the video. Way before he was the Liver King, he was still super rich. Like, he was still very rich.
Clearly, I did it wrong. And I'm here now to set the record straight. Yes, I've done steroids.
Classic YouTuber sigh.
Yes, I am on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician. Liver King, the public figure, was an experiment to spread the message, to bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves. The 80,000 people a day that try to kill themselves. Our people are hurting at record rates with depression, autoimmune, anxiety, infertility, low ambition in life.
This is all very sweet and everything, but you deliver a message and then sell products based around the message, of which you just admitted a large portion of it, your physique, is a lie. Now, if you were just like a motivational speaker or just like a normal YouTuber, Instagram guy who delivers positive messages, that's one thing. You being on steroids and everything, like, that's not that big of a deal. But the fact that you constantly defended being natty and sell all these programs based around it, and then aren't actually the result of those things you talk about, is pretty misleading. Which he does admit, but spinning it as like this positive thing where I'm only here to try and help all of these people who are struggling isn't super genuine, when you're making so much money off them. Like, you could still just be delivering that message for free. They don't need to, like, pay for it if your main goal is to just deliver a positive message. I appreciate, like, the very upfront honesty. Like, yep, I am on steroids. He didn't try and tiptoe around it. He just came in there and spread the cheeks wide open and letting us see the filthy truth on it. That's admirable. But this immediate spin about how it's all for the people that are struggling and wanting to kill themselves, that I don't put much stock into when you're making so much money off of these programs. Like, that's clearly not the main goal when you're very much taking as much money for it as you can. Hey, Charles here with a little post-game aftermath reflection. After watching the video, I get the impression this is more of an I'm sorry I got caught situation as opposed to an I'm sorry I did it. I'm still not 100% sure, but after watching it, that's more the vibe I got. I wanted to put this towards the beginning of the video just to get this out there before continuing with the apology video. And I want to also let it be known that this isn't some shocking revelation. No one heard that Liver King was on the juice and was like frantically Googling for the evidence because they couldn't believe it. Like, pretty much anyone with eyes and anyone that knows anything about fitness realized that his body wasn't naturally achievable. Like, Jesus Christ, just look at his abs. They look like Lego blocks. That shit looks like it's made out of titanium. You could hit it with a sledgehammer and it'd probably just break the sledgehammer. Most people could tell that he had more juice in his body than a Snapple factory. It wasn't a naturally achievable body type, but he always defended tooth and nail that he was natty 100% and he'd never touched HGH, steroids, anything of that caliber. But that's just a blatant lie. And when his whole product is being sold based on this physique that he's lying about, it seems exceptionally scummy to me. Just lying to his audience and getting them to buy into things under a false notion.
And when asked if I'd ever taken steroids, I've always said no. I don't touch this stuff, not gonna touch this stuff, never touch the stuff. That was a lie.
Yeah.
I've convinced myself that this had nothing to do with the ancestral message. I convinced myself that I'm not a competitive athlete of any kind, so who the fuck am I cheating?
You're cheating your audience. I'm still early, so maybe he comes to that realization since he prefaces it by saying, I convinced myself, past tense. But, like, yeah, you're not competing. You're not going to jail for taking steroids, but you're cheating the people that believed in you and believed in the message about looking like you, or at least something comparable. You are cheating them.
So I continually dismissed it, and I dug myself into a bigger and deeper hole.
True.
I have only myself to blame. I did that.
That is true.
It was all wrong. I will be better. I will talk about it openly because I believe that there's a time and a place for pharmacological intervention monitored and managed by a trained hormone physician. Nope. The liver...
See, like, had his message... Had he come out from the genesis of Liver King, from the primordial ooze of Liver and a King, if he had come out and been like, look at this physique. This is not a naturally achievable physique. I am on steroids. And then started preaching his message, I don't think he would have ever had a problem. He probably still would have found a very similar level. The spiritual pressure of the Liver King was too much for my internet to handle. It took out the entire power grid, so stream cut out there for a moment, so I'll finish my statement here. What I was saying is he would have still found a high level of success if he was just upfront and honest about his PED usage, because he still has an absurd physique. He has a body that looks like 3 Gears of War characters did a fusion dance. So people would have still went to his content for like workout advice and like general life advice, and he has preached some positive stuff as well as some genuinely wacky stuff that people eat up. They love it. So he would have still found an audience while being open about using these HGH steroids and stuff like that. And he wouldn't have had to lie to them and mislead them about what the human body is capable of achieving naturally. But if you're going to say, I'm natural when you're not, and then sell programs under the belief that they too can look like you, that to me just screams like scam. Like knowingly just misleading them. Yeah, I feel like Liver King's just living in the past where everyone was demonized for using PEDs. I feel like in the modern landscape of the fitness industry, like fitness influencers, most of them are super open with PED usage. I think most people know the majority of fitness influencers are on some level of juice, and they're okay with that.
Why did I, or why do I do them?
Well, it's not a
When
hard
I talk
question.
about the 85% of the population that suffers from self-esteem issues, that's me. I'm part of that statistic. This is why I fucking work myself to death in the gym. This is why I do 12 to 15 blood-burning workouts a week, just to feel like I'm okay. That have shed light on this complicated as fuck topic. I knew I needed to take this opportunity.
I just don't think it's complicated. He's probably being very honest about self-esteem issues. That's very common when it comes to bodybuilding. But it's also not hard to understand why you would take them in his position. He needs to stand out in the fitness industry. Well, how do you stand out in the fitness industry? You need to carve out a niche. Well, with so many fitness influencers out there, it's a saturated market. What niche? How about something primal? Something like very old school. Paleo diet was huge, so why not something even harder in that realm? And I'm going to really need to look super special to stand out. So you turn to enhancements like HGH and everything. It's a pretty easily understandable reasoning for taking it. Of course, self-esteem probably does play into it because body dysmorphia is so common with fitness. But I think probably the main driver, especially with the emails, makes it sound like it was a manufactured idea from the get-go. I need to get super jacked. I need to be super standoutish. So I need these pretty impressive stack to do that for my business. Seems more like a business decision. But of course, I do imagine he's being honest that there is a self-esteem element to that. But it absolutely, undeniably, was the main reason his brand was so popular.
I am as sorry as a man can be. And all I can do is take extreme ownership right now, be better, and lead myself to a better life as a better human. Again, thank you to everyone for the support, the criticism, the love, the hate, and above all else, the loyalty. Liver King.
I do think he's minimizing the magnitude of misleading people when you run a business like this, because you're selling them a false idea and you continue to lie about it. I think that's a much bigger issue than he's letting on, or maybe he doesn't realize how scummy that is. But overall, it seemed like he accepted responsibility for all of his lying, which is a good start. He didn't try and put that blame elsewhere. He didn't really try and deflect it. He downplayed that quite a bit, but it wasn't a horrible apology by any means. You think he's going to keep using it, or will he quit? And what's your guess on how much muscle he'll lose? He's not going to stop using it. I still think, even though his audience, judging by the comments, is very much on his side, if he didn't look like this, they would probably stop watching. And he knows that, so he's not going to stop. I think he's just going to be more open about it. I think that's the only path forward for him, but I don't see a world where he stops using. I know what you are, and you disgust me. Scoundrel, outlaw, you fungus. What, you think the law is just a suggestion? Something you don't actually have to follow? You're above it? You're untouchable? I know what you've done. I know your dirty little secret. You've been in a Minecraft private server at some point in your life, haven't you? Yeah, I thought so. And I might just report you for it. You might be seeing a little Men in Black show up at your doorstep later on today when the FBI rolls through, scooting in sideways to take you away in cuffs. Yeah, so if you don't know what I'm referring to, there was a big old circus performance here at a California state hearing about the Protect Our Games Act, which has been endorsed by Stop Killing Games. And, well, it turns out so many of you may just be lifelong career criminals engaging in illegal activities going into Minecraft private servers. Did you know that? You thought that you were squeaky clean, a law-abiding citizen, but what you actually are is a scourge. You are a criminal, scum, kingpin, degenerate worm. Did you know that?
One part of the bill is around the ability to go on a community server. The author is stating that that's currently allowed right now, so long as you're. If I don't want to misunderstand what you said, Assemblymember.
That's correct. Minecraft is currently hosted by community servers. Call of Duty community servers. So it's an option that is out there in existence here today.
They're illegal, and they are not in any way affiliated with Microsoft. Microsoft for Minecraft has gotten a lot of criticism.
Now, this is the excerpt Stop Killing Games posted on YouTube, but the actual full source, it gets even worse. Like the way that she talks about it. I'm going to show you the full clip in a second, but just let that digest for a moment. She is saying that these are illegal. This is a representative for the ESA, the Entertainment Software Association, who's now just coming out here dropping the hammer down, branding fucking private servers in Minecraft and Call of Duty as illegal. Curious. What? Minecraft is legitimately built upon these private servers. Most people that play Minecraft are playing private servers. Well, I guess I can't say most. How about we just be safe here and not exaggeratory? Private servers are a core identity to Minecraft. It is integral to the Minecraft experience in a lot of ways. And now they're just giving this blanket statement of, oh yeah, that's illegal. What?
And they are not in any way affiliated with Microsoft. Microsoft, for Minecraft, has gotten a lot of criticism because of those community servers not employing the same safety standards that Microsoft does on their Minecraft servers.
So is it like the black market of video games?
Yes, in fact, we consider it piracy. We have lawsuits, 2 pending lawsuits against private servers right now. And the United States Trade Representative, in their notorious markets reports on counterfeiting and piracy, has named some of these big private servers as a notorious market.
Thank you so much. As a member, I don't want to ask the same questions as my colleague because they're...
Yes, you thought it was all fun and games playing Bed Wars on a private server with your buddies. Blasphemy. You heretics. You were actually just wiping your ass with the law. You were engaging in the black market of video games. Private servers in Minecraft. You make me sick. What were you thinking? I can't wait for you to go to jail. It is a terrible argument that they are putting up here. Their huge stink against the Stop Killing Games, Protect Our Games Act. It's not surprising. These kind of low tactics have been employed for decades and will continue to be employed for many more to come. But it is always so surprising how incredibly out of touch the people in power are. That woman that says, so it's like the black market of video games, she's not very old. She's not some geriatric fossil. She's not an octogenarian. She's like a relatively young representative. And she just has no fucking idea about anything being presented here, yet has authority and power in ruling with what happens in regards to it, with no understanding at all. I hate it so much. Now, if the point they were making is like some private servers do get up to illegal activities or do some bad shit that obviously wouldn't be approved by Microsoft or something, then yeah, obviously. That's happened many times in the past. That does exist. There are some really gross, scummy private servers that do illegal shit, no doubt. But that's a totally separate thing than what they're saying as this blanket, oh yeah, private servers are illegal. We consider it piracy. So this is the ESA, the Entertainment Software Association's position now, branding Minecraft and Call of Duty private servers illegal, and adding that as far as the ESA is concerned, we consider it piracy. So this is Jennifer Gibbons, who's the ESA's Vice President for State Government Affairs, and as illustrated from this article here, it's a load of fucking hogwash. This is dirty barnacles. You can literally download a .jar file from the official Minecraft website to run your own private server right now. So if it was considered piracy and illegal, why is the official Minecraft site providing these ne'er-do-wells with the tools they need to run their own private server? What sense does that make? They're directly participating in this black market of video games, this illegal piracy. It's so fucking cringe, man. It's so ridiculous. So the context here is she was responding to a comment made by Chris Ward, who introduced the bill regarding the possibility of keeping games alive with private servers. And the community servers were brought up as like an option because it exists today, which is when she interjects saying that they're illegal, not affiliated, and, you know, they consider it piracy, that type of shit. If that's the ESA's position, why aren't they ass-blasting Minecraft itself for allowing private servers and providing the tools for anyone to set their own up? That seems odd, right? Why aren't they fighting tooth and nail to have them taken down? Don't they want to put a stop to the black market of video games here? And look at this, you got a huge whale on the hook. The actual game creators are participating in it. They got the jar files there. They've got the... Did they not know that they have the .jar there? Bro, that's like the Manhattan Project of illegal piracy. And they're just giving the keys to the kingdom to anyone. ESA, you gotta move right now. Look, I see someone doing something illegal. Private servers on Minecraft. I actually can't stop giggling about the fact that they are slapping these huge labels like black market on Minecraft private servers. So there's like fucking 11 and 12-year-olds in there making like Hot Wheels shit in their private server with their friends. And meanwhile, you have the ESA saying, this is the lowest of the low society. We got fucking freaks on the loose in these things called private servers. It's illegal. This is the black market of video games. This is a salty spittoon. This is where hardened criminals are doing shady dealings in the shadows. And then you look at private servers in Minecraft, and 99% of them are like kids just innocently playing in Minecraft and shit. We're making libraries. Like I saw, there's a library in Minecraft now that houses like real books in it, which is really cool actually. And that's being slapped with things like black market. It's so fucking outrageous. Now, PC Gamer article does illustrate that it is true the USTR has named particular private servers in its notorious markets reports in years gone by, but not for the simple fact of existing. Take, for example, 2018 report specifically cited Warmain and Firestorm servers as example of notorious markets, two sites which enabled people to play World of Warcraft without paying a subscription to Blizzard, which is quite a bit different from the private Minecraft server you run with your pals or a community server for an old COD that no one maintains anymore. That's exactly right. There is a huge difference. As anyone with even a slightly functioning frontal lobe would tell you. But we're dealing with California state hearings where I guess reasoning and logic goes to die, where now they're trying to, in terrible bad faith, argue that any private server is illegal, a black market, piracy, and then they cite these specific examples of being in lawsuits with these bad actors as proof that all of them are bad. It's so fucking stupid. And unfortunately, this mental gymnastics, complete bogus baloney does work. This garbage is often successful in shutting things down. The Protect Our Games Act did not make it out of this stage of the legislative process. It's not over. It's been granted a reconsideration, so there's still more to come from it, but it didn't land. It wasn't a home run. In a statement to PC Gamer, the ESA wrote that, so far as it's concerned, private servers infringe on the intellectual property rights of game publishers. Publishers reserve the right to exercise their rights against them. That's cool, man. You know what else you have the right to do, ESA? Suck my whole cock. I give you permission to come suck my entire wiener. This is just it's a nothing burger statement that you've made here. Minecraft gives you the .jar to run your own private server. It wants you to run your own private server. It's the backbone of the fucking game itself. So as far as you're concerned, doesn't matter at all. You're just wrong. Like, it's just incorrect. It is nonsense. It's not piracy. Like, yes, you can point to some specific servers that you could probably accurately label as like piracy, shady, scummy, or doing like really, bad stuff, no doubt. But to just blanket say it's all illegal, it's piracy as far as we're concerned, you're just wrong. They then went on to say that the provision in CAAB 1921 that proposed these servers as a legitimate alternative to keep games running raises concerns about a publisher's ability to enforce their IP rights. In addition, private servers operate with no oversight from the publisher and do not uphold the same trust and safety standards. This could create an unsafe environment for players and be counter to the industry's commitment to fostering safe and fun gameplay for all players. A Stop Killing Games campaign volunteer has already commented on the hearings proceedings in a Reddit post where they wrote that the claims, both regarding the supposed illegality of private servers and others, were designed to scare a busy legislator who does not have time to fact-check a well-dressed lobbyist in real time. It worked just well enough this round. It will not when we are standing in the same room with developers and players beside us, ready to answer every single claim as it happens. Next session, we come back with an in-person lobbying presence, the funding to do this properly, and a long list of organizations and developers signed on in support. We are not limiting this to California. We intend to introduce versions of this in other state legislatures, and we are seriously looking at the federal level. The ESA is about to learn what it's like to fight on many fronts at once. So again, it's not over or anything by any means, but this is a bump in the road that is disappointing to see. It's not a good argument from the ESA, and it's a very misleading one that is geared towards trying to prey on the ignorance of the people that they're presenting it in front of, because they clearly have no fucking idea what any of it's even about anyway, so they'll use scary buzzwords like piracy, black market, illegal, that kind of thing in order to put the fear of God in and be like, okay, well, yeah, then I guess these private servers aren't really a viable alternative. It's just it's a lawless wasteland of savages out there. Yeah, no, we can't have that. So yeah, hopefully in the next steps of this process here, things can look up for the Stop Killing Games movement here. Just wanted to talk about this a little bit because that was a crazy stance that the ESA took there. Outrageous statements that anyone that's even adjacent to video games would hear and raise an eyebrow at because it's so fucking ridiculous. Anyway, that's really about it. So yeah. You all know how much I love awful YouTuber apology videos, but today I've got something truly special to show you. This is the magnum opus of saying I'm sorry. It doesn't come from a YouTuber either. This comes from a basketball player, and he completely redefined the apology video meta. He made an entire apology documentary. I'm talking about Draymond Green. Now, I don't know how many of you are some red-blooded American, brewski-boofing, patriotic sports fans, but I'm going to break down the situation for those of you that aren't and don't know what I'm referring to. Draymond Green is a professional basketball player, plays for the Warriors, and recently he was filmed in practice punching his teammate after an argument. I can't show the video because YouTube will probably age restrict it for shocking and disturbing content, which it's not. So I'll just paint the picture with words here. So Draymond Green and Jordan Poole are at practice, and then some words get exchanged between the two. I can't read their lips, and the quality looks like it's straight out of 2001 off of a goddamn Motorola Razr, so the quality's fucking abysmal. Don't know what they said to each other, but they were some not nice words being exchanged. Perhaps Jordan Poole hit him with a SpongeBob reference that he didn't appreciate, something like, "Hey pal, you just blow in from Stupid Town." Then Draymond Green gets up in his face. Jordan Poole pushes him off, and in response to that, Draymond Green fucking cranks a mean one and lets a go-go gadget extendo knuckle sandwich fly, absolutely blasting Jordan Poole. I don't think it was a full-blown knockout, but Jordan Poole did hit the ground hard. Like, he went down harder than the UPS delivery driver throwing my packages at the door. But this is where this fight started and stopped. The team separated the two of them, and the video was leaked to TMZ, and this became a huge deal in the entire sports world. Afterwards, Draymond Green did issue an apology publicly, saying he was sorry for the whole situation and how embarrassed he was by it. But clearly he wasn't embarrassed enough because he decided to shamelessly make a documentary about this whole situation as well. The man made a full-blown, goddamn Michael Moore-style documentary on his punch of his teammate. It's so weird and goofy. I'm going to show that to you now, at least bits and pieces of it, but I also want to let you all know, if you're not familiar with Draymond Green, the guy has a reputation for being a bit of a douchebag. If you just type in Draymond Green hitting players in the nuts, you can watch full compilations of how many times he's kicked other basketball players in their ball sack. He's made a habit out of it. There's one player in particular, Steven Adams. I believe he's kicked him in his fucking jewels 3 times. 2 times in one game, if I remember correctly. So he's got a reputation for being a bit of a dirty player and a bit of an asshole. So this was just a nice cherry on top of that already pretty bad reputation.
On October 5th, Draymond Green and teammate Jordan Poole got into a verbal altercation during practice. The incident ended with Draymond punching Poole in the face.
Yeah, they pulled out all the stops for this one, all the bells and whistles. They got a professional voiceover here, making it sound very official, professional. And you would think most people in general would want to move on from a controversy like this. Just, apologize, put your head down and ignore it, so that way it will hopefully go away faster. But for some reason, Draymond and the whole team that put this piece together really like to roll around in the drama of this, making it a spectacle. I don't know what they thought was a good idea about this, making a documentary to explain the punch. It's totally unnecessary. I think everyone understands what happened here. Draymond got upset and punched his teammate. It's very simple. It's like the simplest story ever told. Yet they're making it seem like a very complex issue with very many moving parts to it that we don't fully grasp, thus need a documentary to explain it to our little idiot brains here. It makes no sense to me. They're just here trying to squeeze as much milk from this controversy as possible, just grabbing it by the tit to get as much juice from the squeeze as they can.
I think you're initially upset, pissed off, which is why you have the reaction you have.
You don't say. The reason you punch people is because you're upset and pissed off? Fucking truly groundbreaking revelations here. My third eye is open. My mind is being expanded. Just please slow down here, Socrates. We're tackling some very profound and deep things now. You're telling me there's a correlation between being upset and punching someone? No, what?
Part of the process of why did this happen? And walking yourself through why. The different things that can get you to why what took place actually took place.
It's not that deep. I wasn't even there and I could tell you why this happened. Because he hurt your feelings and you lashed out, you had a little temper tantrum and punched him. It's not a confusing situation that needs like a deep explanation. The only question I'd be asking is, why didn't you aim for his nutsack like you normally do?
Now that you process what just happened, now you've processed the why. Now how do you feel and what do you feel about it?
What in the fuck are you even saying? Jesus Christ, you punched your teammate. That's it. I don't think after the punch you immediately went into a sensory deprivation tank to meditate on it and really dig deep into the weeds and figure out, well, why did this happen and how am I feeling about it? Like, did you go immediately and see a psychiatrist or something? Like, what are you going on about here? Jesus. Imagine Jordan Poole. You get punched and the guy who punched you makes a documentary about it. You already know Jordan Poole and the rest of the team are laughing at Draymond Green for this one. And rightfully so. The man is the protagonist of premium cringe right now.
So you get at a time, you give it some time to allow people to throw their opinion out, which quite frankly, I don't care about people's opinion.
Yeah, this really seems like someone who doesn't care about people's opinion. He cares so little about your opinion that he made an entire documentary whining about the situation. That's how little of a fuck he gives about what you think about him. Now, please, shed some tears for this forgiveness documentary he's made.
I don't spend much time, I don't really read many tweets at all. And so I was just at home chilling with my children. If you want me to be honest with you, I still don't know how much the world may think it blew up.
Sparked by the leak of the video, the incident did blow up.
The classic, I wasn't even paying attention. I didn't think it was a big deal. I was at home with my family being a loving father, and in fact, I'm one of the best fathers on the planet. I'm not a bad guy. In fact, I was just so preoccupied being the best dad of all time that I didn't even stop to notice that people were upset at me for a video that was taken or something. I don't even know if it was a big deal at all.
I apologize to his family. For me, that is the task at hand, to rebuild trust in our locker room. I felt as a man, I felt as a leader, that I would do everything that I can to make this right.
That's a clip from his public apology when this first started blowing up, and I actually thought it was fine. He said, I'm sorry to Jordan, his family, his team, and then explained how he's going to try and make things right and make things better and get trust back in the locker room. And then a week later, he makes this absolutely insane documentary about the punch. So clearly something went awry there. The first response he had, I think, was okay. He's just like, you know what, I fucked up. It is what it is, and I'm sorry. And now he goes full Hollywood here, sniffing his own farts, and makes a documentary surrounding this punch.
It's on me to make sure we're headed that way. Time clarity, you know what it is, I know what it is. Continue to move forward, put it behind us. It helps, allows you to start the process. And get back to business. That's where I go from here, that's where we go from here.
Gotta love how this video is supposed to be like an explanation for why it happened and a little documentary surrounding it, but it doesn't even do that. It doesn't do the bare minimum. He just says well, why did it happen? And it's the process of understanding why it happened, but never even says why it happened. He never even explains why he did it. I mean, everyone knows why he punched him, we all get it, but this whole documentary was built around the idea of, well, here's his chance to defend himself and give his side of, what happened here and how regretful he is. But it doesn't even do that. But you want to know the best part of this documentary? It says nothing. It doesn't even make a point. It's just hey, here's Draymond Green, he punched this guy. And here's him moderately reflecting on it. And then he goes back to practice and he says it's time to get back to work and he hopes he could lead the team better now. That's it. That's the whole documentary. Like it has no purpose whatsoever. It's mind-blowing that this got made, but regardless, that's pretty much where the documentary ends. It's very silly, and I just wanted to talk about it because I think it's a wild set of circumstances here. Making a documentary about your outburst punching your teammate is such a bold move, and yeah, that's about it. So yeah. Well, I never thought this day would come. A YouTuber just made an apology video worse than Sienna May's iconic interpretive dance. For those that don't remember, Sienna May was a TikToker accused of sexual assault, and for some reason she marched into the mines of Mordor and hatched the most diabolical plan of all time, forged the worst video apology ever, where it was an interpretive dance apology. So she starts fucking boogieing out there, doing some of this, a little bit of these, and by God, I'm ashamed to say it, but she even did some of this. Just kind of downplaying the entire situation. And keep in mind, it was sexual assault accusations that also had a video as well. So there was a ton of evidence, and she still just tried to do like an apology interpretive dance. I did not think there would ever come a time that someone makes a worse response than that, but hooey, how wrong I was.
Hey, it's been a while since you saw my face. I haven't been doing so great, so I took a little break. So a lot of people are saying some things about me that aren't quite true. Doesn't matter if it's true though, just as long as it's entertaining to you.
That bleeding in your ears is normal. This is a ukulele apology video. She's turned her accusations and her response into a Disney musical number here, I suppose. She's got a whole little Broadway moment here to sing and talk about it. Now, before getting into it, let me give some context on what she's apologizing for. Colleen Ballinger is most known for her Miranda Sings character. If you've been on YouTube for a long time, you've definitely heard that name before. She was a massive superstar on the platform. She even had her own Netflix show. And recently, another YouTuber named Adam McIntyre has really started to spearhead this information about her past and everything that's happened to them, as well as the group chat that she used to have with a lot of her fans that were minors, and the way she conducted herself. She's been accused of like asking for ass pics from her fans, and again, most of these fans were minors at the time. She'd even send really weird videos to them. It's just, there's been a ton of evidence of very unacceptable shit, so she's been accused of like grooming as well as being a predator, and this video that she made is her response to those very serious allegations.
All aboard the toxic gossip train. You're chugging down the tracks of misinformation. The toxic gossip train. You got a one-way ticket to manipulation station.
Nah, she's giving us a one-way ticket to defecation station, because this is some shit here. I don't know how she thought this was a good idea at all. She doesn't even disprove any of the allegations, she just calls it the toxic gossip train, like it's some kind of little musical number out of Magic School Bus or something that she's not taking seriously. In the face of very serious claims, she decides to put on the entire clown outfit and grab her trusty ukulele and go to battle. But it's not really a battle because she doesn't even really tackle any of the claims. She doesn't refute anything or defend herself. She just makes a song.
Toxic gossip train. Tie me to the tracks and harass me for my past. Cause rumors look like facts. If you don't mind the gaps, I won't survive in the crash. But hey, at least you're having fun.
I'm sorry to keep pausing this so frequently, I just have so much to say, and trust me, I'm really doing you a favor with all of these breaks here to give you a brief, like, respite from the fucking unbelievable cringe. Like, this is some pure, undiluted, unhinged delusion here. This is so strong, I feel like it needs to be added to the periodic table, like the element of delusion that she is displaying here. Like, this song is fucking haunted, honestly. This is like that track out of Courage the Cowardly Dog with Velvet Vic, where, like, sucks you into the record player. That's this song, but it sucks you into her group chat where she's, like, asking about your first period and asking for ass pics or something. But the reason I'm pausing it here is because this is something she falls back on a lot in the song, and I don't want to just keep playing too much of the song. She seems to think that a lot of people are taking pleasure in watching all of this and says like, oh, it's all untrue, but you're just doing it because it's entertaining and you're having fun. I've never fully understood that perspective because I imagine most people don't have fun learning that people they grew up watching or people they were at least aware of being a big influence turned out to be absolute fucking scumbags. Groomers, predators, all these horrible things. Like, no one has fun with accusations like that, I don't think. Certainly not the victims of it. The victims of Miranda Sings, Colleen Ballinger here, definitely aren't having any fun here. This has been mentally damaging shit that they've carried for a long time. Now, I do think there is an argument to be made about, like, YouTuber apologies as entertainment. I made a whole fucking tier list on it. There is an element of fun to watching a completely disconnected from reality weirdo do something like Miranda Sings has done with this fucking singing apology. It's hard not to point and laugh at the absolute insanity of that situation. But in those cases, no one's laughing about the actual allegations. Nobody wants someone in a position of power like Miranda Sings, Colleen Ballinger, to turn out to be a groomer or a predator.
Hi everyone. I've been wanting to come online and talk to you about a few things. Even though my team has strongly advised me to not say what I want to say, I recently realized that they never said that I couldn't sing what I want to say, so.
Holy shit, she's done it. She's activating 100% of her brain. What an incredible loophole. Checkmate, lawyers. Her legal team must have been there like, no! She got us. How did we not think of that? We never said she couldn't sing it. Damn, she's good.
Many years ago, I used to message my fans, but not in a creepy way like a lot of you are trying to suggest. It was more of a loser kind of way, where I was just trying to be besties with everybody. There were times in the DMs when I would overshare details of my life, which was really weird of me. I haven't done that for years, you see, because I changed my behavior and I took accountability. Let's go on the toxic gossip train.
If you have anything to refute the claims, why don't you present it instead of doing your little talent show ukulele act? She's saying that this video, in the beginning of the song, she's saying that she's only going to be talking about the facts, and then provides nothing. The facts must have been out of town during the filming of this because she does not present them at all. She doesn't provide anything to refute any of the claims. All she does is say like, no, that's all wrong. Those aren't the facts. You guys are falling for the toxic gossip train. Misinformation super duper station. Whatever. Like, she doesn't actually provide any evidence, any counterpoints, nothing. All she does is just say that it's a lie. That's it. And I guess you're supposed to take her at her word because she's singing it? Like, it doesn't make any sense. This is just invalidating to all of her victims. Like, she is like actually like laughing in their face with this video, I feel. It's pretty disgusting, actually. I don't understand how she thought this could possibly be perceived in any meaningful, positive way. Because again, she doesn't defend herself. She doesn't refute any of the claims of all of like the grooming accusations. If she thinks that all of this is overblown or incorrect, why wouldn't she come forward with her evidence to support that and say like, nope, this is where all of this is wrong, this is where it's false, this is where you've been lied to and manipulated. She doesn't do that. All she has here is this dumb little fucking song. I just can't even wrap my head around the thought process.
In all seriousness, I do think it's really important to hold people accountable for their mistakes. We should hope that everyone can learn from their mistakes and grow and change their behavior and be a better person. And this is something that I've always tried to do when I make mistakes, and it's something that I will continue to try to do. What? Oh, you don't care? Oh, okay. I thought you wanted me to take accountability, but that's not the point of your mob mentality, is it? No. Your goal is to ruin the life of the person you despise while you dramatize your lies and monetize their demise.
Once again, this is just like shitting on the victims that have come forward. There are tons and tons of messages as well as videos, like just an overwhelming amount of evidence that's all pretty damning on Colleen Ballinger's behavior from these group chats, as well as just a lot of other things over the years. And in the song, she just reduces that to, I was just a weird loser sending cringe. It was just a goofball doing loser weird stuff. And then still has the audacity to sing about how she's taking accountability? What the fuck? That's the opposite of accountability. You're minimizing, downplaying the very real harm you caused to your underage fans through these group chats, these interactions, and all the shit that you said and sent. That's not taking accountability. You are literally doing the exact opposite by saying, like, it's really not that big of a deal, it's just kind of weird, that's all. And then she goes in to just say about, like, this is just directly shitting on the victims. She goes then into the next part saying that the reason there's a mob mentality is because they're coming forward with all of these lies to monetize her demise because they don't like her. Well, Colleen Ballinger, let's supersize the McDonald's fries here. You're fucking insane. What are you talking about? How could you even, like, actually put this out there? I don't know how she could not only write this song, perform this song, and this is definitely not her first take, so go through this song multiple times, edit it, and then post this without realizing just how... I don't even know the right word. It's like almost downright evil she comes across. Because, again, this is like spitting in the face of all the victims that have come forward with a ton of evidence against her, saying it's not a big deal, they're wrong, they're just doing it for clout. It's so sickening.
I feel like I can already hear the comments on this video. She's gaslighting, manipulating. Oh, she's a narcissist and a rat. I would never make a mistake like that. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that all of you are perfect, so please criticize me. Bring out the daggers made from your perfect past and stab me repeatedly in my bony little back.
This is gonna come as a surprise, this is gonna be shocking. But yeah, most people aren't making mistakes like this. This isn't one of those like whoops-a-daisy mistakes that everyone makes in their life. Most normal people are going to go through their life without ever doing anything close to what you're accused of doing. Talking sexually with minors in a group chat, sending used underwear to kids. The list goes on, and she beats this point home about like how she's just made like a little mistake here and it doesn't make her a bad person. But this is, again, one of those mistakes that like actually does make you a bad person. This isn't like a little mistake. Like, she makes it sound like, oh, you don't have the right to criticize me because you're not perfect, your past isn't perfect. But most people's past isn't exactly one that's plagued by degeneracy like this. So, no one's perfect, of course, but that doesn't mean that people don't have the right to criticize you for just how ridiculously awful the shit that you are accused of doing is, and also how terrible this response is.
I'm sure you're disappointed in my shitty little song. I know you wanted me to say that I was 100% in the wrong. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna take that route of admitting to lies and rumors that you made up for clout.
Once again, just hawking a big fat loogie in the face of every victim that came forward here. If these are all lies and just rumors, why don't you prove your side of it? Why don't you provide any evidence beyond just a song that says things without showing things or proving things? There is nothing presented here that refutes a single claim at all. She's just singing things. And that's it. That's not evidence. The video and song goes on for like another 4 or 5 minutes, but she just keeps saying the same thing about how it's all lies and manipulation, but she doesn't prove any of that. Why wouldn't you want to like actually clear your name? I don't know what she thought this song would do. It doesn't offer any kind of explanation for anything to clear up what she's calling lies and rumors. It's nothing. There is mountains of like actual messages and videos of her engaging in very, very bad behavior, very awful things, which has led to people labeling her things like a groomer and a predator, which she really doesn't like, but that's what all of these documents lead towards, point towards, and she does nothing to refute any of it, except make this absolutely embarrassing song out of it. It's baffling. I couldn't believe this shit today. So yeah, like I said, I'm not going to play the rest of the video because she just keeps saying, it's all lies, it's just rumors, it's ridiculous, I can't believe you guys fell for it. But doesn't provide any kind of actual counterpoints or evidence or anything, so it's fucking useless. This is, I do think, the new worst YouTuber apology video, and that's not an easy feat to have accomplished, so that's wild. That's really about it. So yeah. When you think of an apology video, you probably picture some stinky, goofy YouTuber petting their dog and fake crying, just trying to appear remorseful, and it's always just embarrassing, looking like some shit out of South Park where they're like tweaking on their nipples and saying, I'm sorry. Because for a long time, YouTubers have had a monopoly on shitty apology videos. Until today. Travis Scott, the famous rapper most known for his McDonald's meal, the Travis Scott Burger, has proven himself to be an innovator not only in avoidable concert-related deaths, but also in shitty apology videos. He posted his own bad apology video on Instagram today, and I thought it's only fair that we look at it. Now, I'm sure you already know, but Travis Scott was addressing the tragedy that happened at his concert Astroworld the night before, where 8 people died and 300 others were injured. This was due to a lot of factors, but the main one being crowd crush. Crowd crush is when a huge crowd of people occupies a small space and everyone gets too close together and inadvertently starts pushing on each other, which suffocates people in the middle. They die from asphyxiation. Crowd crush is an agonizing and horrible death, which unfortunately 8 people suffered yesterday at his concert. I made a video going over this, and since then there's been a few people that went to my Twitch streams just to say Travis Scott did nothing wrong and bears no responsibility and called me a cuck. And I swear to God, if I have to read one of those brainlet takes one more time, I'm gonna go sicko mode. I will say again, while Travis Scott wasn't responsible for the conditions that caused the horrible crowd management and the crowd crushing, he had ample opportunity to pause the concert or stop the show altogether. People were saying Travis Scott didn't know what was going on, so had no reason to stop the concert. So I guess they just think Travis Scott is the dumbest man on the planet who performs with his eyes closed. I don't know. Because if you just look at the pictures taken from the stage or some of the video from the stage, you can literally just see an ambulance going across the crowd because there's ambulances at all times throughout the concert because people were dropping over unconscious, literally dropping like flies. You were statistically more likely to die at the Travis Scott concert than you were shark attack, lightning strike, fucking driving in a destruction derby. Like, it was a lot of people falling unconscious and an ambulance pretty much at all times in the crowd. And the crowd, of course, dancing on top of the ambulance, all of which was visible from the stage. And also the crowd was begging the organizers as well as screaming at Travis to stop the concert. But even still, let's assume all of that. Travis didn't see the ambulance. He didn't see or hear anyone begging him to stop the concert. There is a clip that I mentioned in my video where Travis Scott literally tells security to get one of the unconscious bodies out of there. He noticed that one of the guys was fallen unconscious or something. He asked security to get him out. Security is crowd surfing the guy's body out of the venue as Travis Scott is watching and singing at the body, literally giving it a walk-off song. Travis Scott knew people were falling unconscious, as evident from that one clip alone, and he still chose not to pause, take a break, or stop the concert. He bears a lot of responsibility, and Travis Scott has stopped concerts before for much less. There's a very popular clip that's now floating around where Travis Scott crowd surfed and got his shoes taken, and he stopped the concert on the spot to spit on the guy that took his shoes and tell the crowd to beat his ass. So Travis Scott has stopped concerts for his shoes, but doesn't stop it for the loss of life. So he values shoes more than people's lives, I guess, more than his fans' lives. That's the impression I get. Travis Scott bears responsibility, accept it, stop defending him, stop huffing that copium. Now with that being said, let's check out his apology video.
I just want to send out prayers to the ones that was lost last night. We're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. You know, my fans really mean the world to me, and I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience.
Man, you can tell this clip is serious because he put the black and white filter on it. Fuck. You can tell it's really getting to him. This whole apology video looks like he was just woken up out of a deep slumber and forced to make this by like his lawyer or something. Like, hey, get the fuck out of bed, we need you to make an apology video. And he's like still sleepy. He's like, oh fuck, okay. Hey guys, sorry. And then he's like rubbing his face really hard, hoping to get 1 or 2 tears to come out, but they just won't fall. He can't get the tears flowing. It seems more like he's annoyed than sad. Like, this is how I react when my dog takes a shit on the carpet. It's like, ugh, fuck, it's on the carpet, which means I'm gonna need to use like nature's miracle or something to get it off, and it's gonna be a big mess. Oh, Jesus.
Anytime I can make out, anything that's going on, I stop the show and, help them get the help they need,
Yeah, but you didn't. You did identify someone who was unconscious. You identified someone's lifeless body. and told security to get out of there. And then you started singing to the body and then continued on the show. Like, you immediately just went into a song. So, I mean, you did identify it. And, I mean, I guess you got them the help they needed, getting them crowd surfed out of there. But you didn't stop the show. Even after finding that, you still continued.
I could just never imagine the severity of the situation. We've been working closely with everyone to just try to get to the bottom of this. The city of Houston, HPD, fire department, everyone help us figure this out. So if you have any information, please just contact your local authorities.
Yeah, every single person involved in Astro World here needs to be held accountable. The second people started breaking through security checkpoints and climbing fences to flood the venue, they should have taken precautions to pause the concert, delay it, or something, because they were not equipped to handle that capacity, and this is the natural result of that. It's a true fucking tragedy, and everybody, Travis Scott included, needs to be held accountable for what happened here. Now, I did read reports that there was someone who injected a security guard with a needle, which caused the security guard to pass out. I don't know if there was some kind of, fucking supervillain there injecting people with something. But even if that was the case and not everything was related to crowd crush, there was still plenty of people recognizing all of these unconscious bodies and should have stopped the concert. If anything, that would be more reason to stop the concert, and they still chose not to, which is an even higher level of negligence.
Everybody continue to just keep your prayers. I mean, I'm honestly just devastated, and I could never imagine anything like this just happening. And I'm gonna do everything I can to keep you guys updated and just keep you guys informed on what's going on. Love you all.
As is standard practice for apology videos, there isn't an apology. There's no "I'm sorry." It's crazy. Every single fucking apology video ever, for some reason, lacks the most basic apology. A simple "I'm sorry." Nothing. None of that present here. And I just wanted to go over it. It's not like a very informative video or anything interesting, but it just shows how disconnected celebrities are, that this seemed like a good idea to him. At no point do I get the impression he truly cares about what happened. It seems more like he's worried about potential lawsuits that he's going to face. And not potential, the inevitable lawsuits that he and his team will face. It seems like something that he was forced to make, as is pretty clear by how uninterested he looks in the video. And it's so baffling. Why even bother at this point? He made a Twitter statement. Why did he even bother making this when he clearly doesn't seem to care that much? He doesn't even take responsibility at all. So, I mean, I just wanted to at least show this, since he did post this apology video on Instagram, and yeah, that's about it. So yeah. We were overdue for a little internet wackiness, and you were looking a little malnourished, so allow me to feed you some vitamin D drama. If I asked you to tell me the most iconic YouTube video you can think of, I imagine a lot of you would default to some of the timeless classics like Numa Numa, maybe Harlem Shake. But I do think there's a not small number of people that will immediately go to something a little more recent. The now infamous Colleen Ballinger ukulele apology video. Now I know what you're thinking. Charles Dagnabbit, that was 2 months ago. That's ancient history. That milk has spoiled. Why are we talking about it now? Well, it's because JoJo Siwa just came out to defend her against everything that's happened and calls it a lie.
Speaking of friends, are you, and if I'm wrong, are you friends with Colleen Ballinger still?
Yeah,
What do you say about that?
I've known Colleen since I was 12.
Now, I recognize on the internet things move faster than me on a basketball court. It's always going a million miles per hour, so there's a good chance a lot of you forgot why Colleen Ballinger even got in trouble in the first place. So I'll give you a brief refresher. Colleen Ballinger is the woman behind the Miranda Sings brand, and recently, 2 months ago, it came to light that she had a history of talking and acting inappropriately with underage fans, even sending some extremely disturbing and inappropriate videos to children in her audience, and a lot of other very awful allegations and accusations against her and the way she acts around children. So for JoJo Siwa to come on here and immediately start by saying that she's known Colleen since she was 12, that to me is just another big red flag. Like, this is the worst possible way of starting your defense of someone if you're trying to prove they're innocent and everything was a lie. She just openly admits that when she was 12 years old, she was friends with an adult woman. When JoJo Siwa was 12, Colleen would have still been an adult. That is very weird. The creep sirens should be blaring. An adult influencer befriending children in their audience is not normal, healthy, or a good thing. Especially because Colleen, as she herself admits, had no boundaries, so would share everything with these children that she considered friends, such as sexual shit. It was very, very not good. And here's JoJo just confirming that, hey, I was one of those 12-year-olds that was friends with this adult woman.
I would imagine if you're friends with her, you kind of met her when you were young.
I was 12 when I met her.
And
she's always been nothing but kind to me. Her family, nothing but kind to me. The internet can take a lie and run so far with it, so far that it's to the point where you just can't do anything about it.
What lie? Can you point it out and set the record straight? What fib has Hulkmania run wild with? Because in this statement, in this exact same sentence here, you just confirmed one of the big accusations about the adult woman, Colleen Ballinger, befriending children. And there's a bunch of videos and messages that have all come out with things she would send to these children, and it's not good. Are those the lies? Is that all fake? Just deep fakes and all of the messages and victims aren't real? They're paid actors pretending? I would love to know what it is here. Now, full disclosure, I'm not super familiar with JoJo Siwa. It's a name I've heard a lot. I know she's a huge child celebrity. So if I may pose a thought experiment here, do you think it's possible that Colleen Ballinger was extremely nice to you and her family extremely nice to you, JoJo, because you were already a celebrity? So she knew if she was creepy and weird and saying sexual things to you, that could be a big deal because you had an audience and a platform that could call to light these awful actions. So perhaps she gave you special treatment because if she did do all of the degenerate shit she was doing with the other children she befriended, there was a chance that you could cause a lot of problems for her by revealing it publicly. But I could be totally off my rocker here, lost my marbles. At the end of the day, it's just a theory, a game theory. Just something to marinate up here in the old noodle to think on. But regardless, an adult influencer befriending a child fan is weird. Full stop. That is still just a weird thing to do.
And I've had that happen to me. And I know Colleen very, very, very well. And I think the work that Colleen has done for the internet is incredible. I think her creativity is incredible. Miranda Sings is a character, is a comedian.
Comedian is a word we're using very loosey-goosey here, but even still, there's not exactly anything side-splitting, gut-busting hilarious about an adult sending sexual videos and messages to kids in a group chat. That's not exactly a top 10 ha-ha laughs moment. That's just fucking gross. So you can't really just excuse it at all as she's playing a character, just being a comedian. It doesn't really work here. And once again, you should not know Colleen Ballinger very, very well. You were a child. You were 12 years old. You should not know intricate details about this adult influencer's life who is a stranger to you. You're not related or anything. You shouldn't have been friends to begin with. That in and of itself, I believe, is a problem.
And I think that it's very hard to be a character where people are also looking at you as you're a real human behind that character. And I think being a comedian is very hard because you were able to do things years ago that were okay, and now that we've grown and we've matured, we've realized that they're not okay. You know what I mean?
In and of itself, that statement's not entirely wrong. Of course, things were different 15 years ago on the internet. Some of the videos then have not aged well and would be very differently in terms of their perception today. But I don't recall there ever being a time in the internet's history where it was looked at in a positive light with an adult sending sexual shit to children. That's never really been something that's been written off as just comedy. So, this is kind of a nothing statement here, and by no means does this defend her at all or prove her innocence. You said that the internet ran with a lie, but now, instead of trying to prove that it's a lie, you're just saying, things were different a while ago, and now that we've matured, things aren't okay like that anymore. It's like, well, what the fuck are you actually even trying to say with this? I don't think JoJo herself knows. She just doesn't want to accept that someone that she was close with was actually just not a good person, I think.
But you, as somebody who's been in the public eye for a long time,
Yes.
do you think that it is appropriate to communicate openly with everybody that reaches out to you?
No, I don't think that communicating with fans is, you got to be careful to not
And that's what I'm saying, like-
not blur a friend-fan line. It's very tough.
Howie seems to get it, and it doesn't seem like he wants to ruffle any feathers here, so he's being as light with this as possible, tiptoeing around it a bit, but he recognizes that perhaps we should be calling attention to the obvious elephant in the room, that adults in a position like Colleen Ballinger was probably shouldn't be openly communicating with child fans like this. And I also want to point out that Howie Mandel, anytime I think about him in the modern age, I immediately just think back to that TikTok video he posted like a year ago, where he had a picture of this dude whose entire asshole fell out of his anus, and Howie was in the corner with a selfie saying, "Hey guys, this just happened to my buddy Eric. Do any of you know if this is COVID related? Is this a symptom? Let me know in the comments." Dude just dropped a fresh 2022 Goatsy, a brand new prolapse out of nowhere, and it had me giggling. So anytime I see him, I immediately just, in my mind's eye, picture that picture with Howie's face next to it. I don't know if that's how his show is, like if he has that kind of content on his show. I imagine not, because I don't think JoJo Siwa would agree to be on like an explicit show like that, since she is a like child star and makes exclusively family-friendly content, I believe. So I don't think that's how his show goes, but I just want to point out, like, if it is, what a crazy collaboration for JoJo Siwa to go on that kind of show. That'd be like fucking Hellraiser collabing with Fortnite for a skin.
And I'm just saying this as a parent again. You said you started communicating with her when you were 12.
Yes.
You want to be a
But you
parent?
guys were in the same industry.
So we were
too.
in the
like,
same-
You guys were making videos and stuff together.
So
right?
we actually met.
I'm just going to summarize the story JoJo tells here. It's about how her and Colleen Ballinger met. Basically, when Dance Moms was airing, which JoJo was a star of, I suppose, they didn't get invited to a party. Colleen Ballinger caught wind of it, saw that they were upset that they weren't invited, tried to make it up to them, and they all got dinner.
Colleen was telling me that night about YouTube and how her whole family did it and how it was awesome and she vlogs her life. And that night is when I went home and I made my YouTube channel and decided that that was going to be my career, essentially. And
That's a wonderful, sweet, appropriate story.
yes.
I think Howie's right. This story isn't alarming. They got dinner. It wasn't just Colleen and JoJo, it was others as well. And Colleen was talking about YouTube as a platform and ended up inspiring JoJo Siwa to start her own YouTube channel. That's not concerning. What is concerning is staying in constant communication with this adult that allegedly had no boundaries with the children that she would frequently communicate with. That's not normal, and that's not okay.
How is it for you now being her friend and reading some of what we read? Do you think it's all a lie? Do you think it's like, have you talked to her?
There have been a lot of people on the internet who have gotten hit with this cancellation. And a lot of them I know, some of them I don't know.
Only like 3 minutes ago, you did point blank say, lie. You did drop the hard L on that one. You did say lie. But now you're kind of backpedaling it a little bit here, so it's not as aggressive. She's now going through the cancel culture spiel, and the way she talks about it makes it sound like it's some type of infection, like a virus. We've seen this type of cancellation a million times in the lab. It's a particularly insidious one, unfortunate for Colleen Ballinger. It's just a very odd thing for JoJo to say, because it feels like she's almost blaming the people that came forward with all of this evidence about years and years of inappropriate behavior.
And I look at it and I see that this is a sensitive subject. Somebody who is affected by any sort of anything having to do with adults, and I mean, for real grooming it's a very sensitive thing.
You must have really young people reaching out to you now.
Howie threw her a life raft right there. He put the water wingies on her because she was drowning, trying to somehow spin some kind of explanation for why she thinks this is all a bunch of baloney. Like, she's calling dirty barnacles on this whole thing. She said that, you know, the internet ran with a lie, and she's saying cancel culture and all of that, but she's not really expanding on that in any meaningful way. It just feels like she had this image of Colleen because they were close, apparently, and she's refusing to hear from victims that came forward with their own experiences with Colleen that are very different from the ones she experienced. So she's writing it all off as being some kind of attack, some unjust, malicious attack from bad actors.
She's cool, you know? And I think the problem is the internet was able to capitalize off of her cancellation, and they still are, and they still are continuing to, and it's not okay because a lot of it is based off of lies, and it is
a scary place when you put yourself. It was one thing, you know, I came to television, which is
I wish she would explain what the lies are then, because if she has evidence that debunks all of this, it'd be extremely invaluable, and I'm sure Colleen would really appreciate it because she's not doing anything to defend herself. That ukulele apology video offered nothing. She was too focused on delivering a Billboard topping track, a fucking Grammy award-winning toxic gossip train jingle that would distract people, I guess. Like, they'd be too focused on the heater of a song that she delivers that they'll forget all about the accusations and behavior and all of that. Like, she didn't actually defend herself at any point so far. When, if she's innocent, if all of these things truly are lies like you say they are, she should want to. There is a lot of evidence. There are videos that she sent. And unless that's deepfaked, that's a very hard thing to prove is wrong or justified in any way. So the fact that JoJo's defending her so adamantly and claiming it's all lies and it's just the internet capitalizing off her cancellation is pretty fucking wild. To try and defend the indefensible it's a Herculean task. But she's going for it. Again, if all of it is made up, then eventually, hopefully the truth comes out, I suppose, because right now, it really does seem like everything Colleen has been accused of has substantial evidence behind the claims, whereas there is nothing to the contrary that proves that, no, all of this isn't real and we shouldn't trust it. So, I mean, I'm of course going to keep my finger on the pulse here and wait and see if any new developments in this whole situation continues going forward. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to talk about this because I found it to be a pretty surprising segment here. That's about it. See ya. If there was a YouTube rewind this year, I imagine the bulk of the content would be apology videos. There have been more apology videos in 2023 than there have been apologies throughout the last 100 years of our species combined. And just like my age, that number only keeps going up. It's crazy just how common of an occurrence this is. And today we're going to look at a pretty rare one. This is the shiny Pokemon of apology videos. This one's not from a YouTuber or an internet content creator. It comes from two celebrities that I know all of you have seen before. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
So what are they saying I'm sorry for? What whoops-a-daisy blunder did they make? And I'm sorry to say this, sports fans, because it's not some kind of silly mistake. It's not like they gave like a hot take on anime and got dogpiled on Twitter for it or anything. What they did is actually pretty deplorable. They, as well as many others, were requested to write letters to a judge in regards to the Danny Masterson rape case. I actually didn't even know this was going on. I only just learned about this. Danny Masterson of That 70s Show fame, a show that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis were a part of for a very long time, has just been sentenced to 30 years to life in prison for 2 out of the 3 counts of rape that he was facing. Danny Masterson was arrested in 2020, and this trial's actually had a lot of developments to it that I was just completely unaware of, but it's concluded now for the most part, and he was found guilty for 2 out of the 3 counts of rape that he was facing. And then it came out that Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, and about 50 other people wrote letters to the judge of the sexual assault trial to just say nice things about Danny Masterson. I guess the idea was to try and hype him up as like, look at all these positive experiences we had with Danny Masterson. Inside Danny, there are 2 demons, a rapist and an incredible actor with a bright smile that could light up a room. And it's important that we don't overlook that second one. Let's focus on all these great experiences we had with Danny Masterson that we knew. You know, Mr. Hyde was a bad guy, but Dr. Jekyll, he was great. So, like, I guess the idea here was to try and get the judge to be a little bit more lenient or something, like to try and help Danny's case by just saying nice things about the Danny they knew. So an excerpt from Ashton Kutcher's letter says, Danny takes his job seriously. He is kind, courteous, and hardworking. He treated everyone from the grips to the Teamsters to the actors to the caterers as equals. As a role model, Danny has consistently been an excellent one. A great role model to rapists, maybe. What the fuck is this? This is just an absolutely evil thing to say about somebody like this. What? How delusional can you be? He took his job seriously. He even said good work to one of the caterers. I'd never seen such a saint on the That 70s Show set. To look at a caterer and actually engage in small talk blew my mind. I'd never seen anyone so sweet. He was truly a benevolent angel. A great role model if you just ignore all of the rape stuff. Like, holy shit. What in the world? What in tarnation? And Mila Kunis called him an amazing friend, confidant, and above all, an outstanding older brother figure. His genuine concern for those around him and his commitment to leading by example make him an outstanding role model and friend. Yucky. Yucky. An older brother figure, and still, she's echoing the same thing, a great role model. He just got convicted of rape, and it's not like this is a case with like a lot of holes in it and it was like some kind of fishy investigation or something. Like this is a pretty cut and dry case. The only reason it took 3 years is because there is a lot of interesting stuff that may or may not have been going on with Scientology being involved. I don't like to even mention that word because that's a very scary thing to even bring up. Mentioning Scientology is like mentioning Voldemort in the real world. But perhaps there were, you know, a few Tom Riddle diary exchanges that led to some shady shit going on throughout this case, at least from what I've read so far. This isn't something where you would see all of the evidence, see the verdict, and start wiggling your finger like, no, justice wasn't served here. Unless, of course, you're part of Danny Masterson's team, who's saying that they got it wrong and they plan to do everything they can to overturn it and all that shit. But, like, as someone who was a friend of him, you should see this and be like, oh, this is fucking revolting. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. I was friends with an absolute monster. And then you would not go up to bat for them. Like, you wouldn't start speaking to the great character of Danny Masterson. It's just incomprehensible to me. I couldn't imagine doing that. If my best friend in the world, someone I grew up with, someone I consider a brother, was just arrested and convicted of rape, I would not be singing his praises. I wouldn't be spreading the gospel about what an amazing guy he is, right? I wouldn't write a letter to the judge, even if I was requested to do so by his family, and say something like, listen, you know, I dislike sexual assault as much as the next guy. That's some bad stuff. Rape, boo, don't like it. But he never raped me. So he's not all bad. And also, we used to butt chug brewskis in the bathtub together at the frat house. Like, this is a good guy, and it's just something to consider maybe when you're looking over this and deciding on sentencing. Like, I would not be trying to say anything positive about the person. So obviously, this made a lot of people upset to see them do that. It's craziness. So I'll finally get to the apology video now, but I feel like we needed all of this in order to understand why they're apologizing, what exactly they're apologizing for.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
But you also support your friend, even after all of the rape evidence was being put on trial. Like this, I'm very curious now how much they knew about him. Like, did they know all of this? Because they don't seem necessarily surprised, and they seemed more than willing to write these glowing letters that seem like fucking 5-star Yelp reviews of this guy. Like, even with all of this evidence of the sexual abuse, they're still calling him an outstanding role model, an older brother figure. Like, holy shit. I understand they've been friends for 2 decades, so I guess when Danny Masterson's family reached out to request that they write a letter, you know, gushing grannies over how cool Danny Masterson is, they should have said no. They should have just hard rejected that on the spot. Of course, I'm not a lawyer, I haven't passed the bar, but I don't think this is some kind of obligation they had to fulfill here because there were other people that didn't write letters about Danny Masterson. But let's assume they were forced to. You can still say, I was one of Danny Masterson's best friends. I didn't know this side of him. I didn't know he was an evil person, so I don't feel comfortable saying anything nice about my experience with him. Full stop. Like, that could just be the end of it.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
How rotted and corrupt is the brain of a Hollywood drone? Like a Hollywood fucking clout zombie. I can't even begin to try and process how their noodles work. How can you just say that so nonchalant like it's not a big deal and not just fucking diabolical? They knowingly wrote these character letters to give the judge a full understanding of the situation to consider when giving his sentencing to Danny Masterson. So they knew that this was going to be used to try and get lighter sentencing for a man who committed heinous crimes. How do you sleep at night like that? Like after doing that? I don't get it. Like, a lot of people wrote letters, of course, it's not just these two, but these two are the most public figures about it. But I imagine they called anyone that ever even crossed Danny Masterson's path, like, hey, it's me, Tim Clifford. I was Danny Masterson's 3rd grade math buddy. We played together on the kickball squad, and he was a superstar. One of the finest kickball players the East Coast had ever seen. Thanks for reading. And the judge would be there, scratching his chin. I didn't consider that he might have been very good at kickball. Maybe we shouldn't be so harsh on him. Like, I understand it's not just these two. Like, everyone wrote these letters, and I guess they all understood that it was supposed to help Danny Masterson maybe get a lighter sentence. I just don't know how you can do that. Like, in good conscience, it makes no sense to me. You shouldn't want a convicted rapist to get a lighter sentence for the crimes.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read. And not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that.
Hey guys, we were just being super evil behind closed doors, and it's a real shame you guys had to see this side of us. We were hoping you weren't going to notice. This was really meant for the judge's eyes only. We don't want to re-traumatize victims. We just want to make sure the person that victimized them gets the lightest sentence possible for the crimes. And I like how they immediately go into an argument no one's making, like, our letters weren't meant to undermine the legitimacy of the claims. I don't think anyone's claiming they were. Your letters are there to serve as a way of trying to help your friend get a less long, less severe sentence for some absolutely evil shit they did. Which is very bad. It's still horrible.
And we're sorry if that has taken place.
Our heart goes out to every single person who's ever been a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse, or rape.
Man, unfortunately they didn't even do the apology video classic cliche of saying thank you before signing off. You didn't even thank us for watching the apology video? Are you serious? Do you have no manners at all? But yeah, you care so much about the victims of these horrible things, and yet for some reason, a person who was actively engaging in these crimes, you decided to write really nice things about to try and help them. That's really weird. It's hard to believe you now, after all of this. It's just a fucked up situation. Danny Masterson is getting justice, which is the most important thing. But how the fuck could so many people around him willingly just write nice letters about him to try and actively help him in this case? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah.